Welcome back to day 3 of the NBL Blitz. 2 days of competition so far has been absolutely superb. Today, a change of venue and a look at a couple of teams that we haven't seen so far. I'm Jack Heverin. Joel Peterson's been calling all of the action so far. Joel, what have you liked from the first couple of days?
Well, there's been plenty to like. I mean, every time we get to see these new teams, it's exciting. We see new players. Tassie came out on the first night. Brisbane got the better of them. Melbourne United had a nice little warm-up against Cairns. And then yesterday, the Perth Wildcats. Bryce Cotton, 32 points. They come back from 15 down against the New Zealand Breakers. That's probably the headline act so far, but we've seen plenty and really looking forward to seeing the Sixers and the Kings, 2 teams that have had very busy off-seasons.
Adelaide 36ers are an intriguing story, no doubt about that. No Jerell Martin for them tonight, who's out injured. The JackJumpers we're seeing for the last time before they head off overseas. And then you're calling Cairns and Sydney a little bit later on. What are you expecting there?
Yeah, so the Taipans we saw, Rob Edwards was really impressive on Saturday night. He got going. It took him a little while to find his feet, but when he got going, I mean, he really gets going. They don't call him the microwave for nothing, so that'll be intriguing. And then you've got that defensive identity, Brian Goorjian coming into the Kings. So much talent into that squad. Xavier Cooks comes back to the NBL. You just could go through the names forever, which is really exciting. So that second game tonight's going to be a ripper.
We're not going to go through all of the names. What you need to do instead is watch the coverage for the night. This is day 3 of the NBL Blitz at the Gold Coast Sports and Leisure Centre. Cannot wait. 2 big games coming up on KO Freebies.
All right, we at Corrin Sanctuary. We just finished our tour. Had such an amazing time. My favorite animal was a crocodile, of course. He was a monster. That's who I am, a monster. What was your favorite?
My favorite moment was seeing the little baby Joey, the little baby kangaroo, and feeding them. This was absolutely amazing.
Yep. So until next time, Preacher's out.
Hello everyone, so great to be with you at the Gold Coast Sports and Leisure Centre. A change of venue for day 3 here at the NBL Blitz. 2 big games coming your way this afternoon and into tonight. I'm Jack Heverin, one of the best analysts in the game. Pete Hooley alongside me. Who's looking forward to this one? It's the last time we'll see Tasmania before they head overseas.
Yeah, they've got a busy schedule. We talk about the Blitz and a lot of things going on off the floor, but Tassie have a very busy schedule. Their last game, they got media day, a couple of meetings in the morning, and then they take off to Singapore in the Intercontinental Cup. So don't expect Scott Roth to play a heap of guys in this game. He's still trying to get some conditioning into some of the new pieces like Craig Sword, but in the end, it's another chance to see the reigning champs in action. And is this your first chance in person to see the gold logo on the jersey?
It is, yeah. Just arrived at the Blitz this morning, so very excited to be here. And the jerseys and the gold on the jerseys look absolutely spot on, don't they?
It's a great initiative, and again, I love that. So every championship winner is going to have that now on their jerseys going forward. Tassie gets to be the first to do it, which it seems right? Because the Tassie or the Story, the first to do it, they've been in the league for 3 years. They've already won a championship, and yeah, we'll see exactly what they roll out, but it's been a busy couple of days.
Sure has. NBL Blitz proudly supported by Experience Gold Coast. Tasmania and Adelaide is our first game tonight. Cairns and Sydney to come a little bit later on here at the NBL Blitz. And for the Adelaide 36ers, Pete, we can see them on screen right now. There's Nick Marshall, who's expected to be one of the best young players in the competition by the end of this season. Haven't seen a lot of them so far, have we?
No, we haven't. Just the preseason game against the Bullets in Mount Gambier was our only real taste of it. We know that what transpired with these 2 teams were supposed to play 2 games against each other in Tasmania. That didn't eventuate. But now we get to see a little bit more from the 36ers, who it's been a busy off-season for them. And exactly what we're going to get, I'm not so sure. And we can see Jerell Martin, he's not going to be playing. He's in a moon boot currently. And we'll talk about it as the game transpires. But doesn't look great, I think, overall. And things that we're hearing around in terms of Jerell Martin, one, he's not going to be starting the season.
No.
That's
no,
clear.
we can absolutely draw a line through that. Yeah.
Which they kind of expected. He has a long layoff with other injury concerns. But now that and his rehab and trying to get back into game fitness, game shape is going to take some time. But I think what it means is the Adelaide, they're going to have to look around and make some sort of move.
If you are just reacquainting yourself with the NBL and some of the happenings of the off-season, the Adelaide 36ers have been one of the buzz teams, probably for all of the wrong reasons in the off-season as well. Scott Ninnis, a legend of the club, came in as the caretaker last season, did a good job, steered the Adelaide through the murky waters, was slated to be a head coach for this upcoming season. 36ers head office didn't like the direction that it was going, made a decision, which is their right to make that decision. Mike Wells, who was the senior assistant coach, will now be coaching the team this season. From a player's point of view, though, Pete, it wasn't that long ago that you were out here on the floor. How glad do you think that they'll be to just get some games away now and forget about a lot of what went on in the off-season?
For sure. As a player, all you want to do is just go on there and get as many wins for the club, for your fans. And to be honest, all of that occurred, that transpired with 36ers, I think if they had their time again, would they go in a different direction the way they did it? For sure. I think that they understand it's part of a business, a transaction, what they wanted to do going forward. And to be perfectly honest, over the last 10 days, I've had 2 calls from coaches around the league that aren't involved with Adelaide whatsoever to talk about other things, but they've all brought up on their own accord that they're hearing that Mike Wells is doing an absolutely incredible job with the playing group, which is awesome. To hear that from opposition coaches, and I think that's no surprise. I think that's what Adelaide saw with the management, and I think we're going to get that from Adelaide going forward.
Starting fives for both teams. As Pete mentioned, Tasmania will probably play around with their lineups a little bit tonight. They've got to jump on a plane tomorrow and head to Singapore. The Adelaide 36ers, just having a conversation with some of the players within that group, they're looking for big minutes tonight. I think we'll see a lot of DJ Vasiljevic and Isaac Humphries and also Kendrick Davis, their star import, simply, Pete, because they haven't played a lot right now.
For sure, and they're the three pieces that are going to have to carry a real big load throughout the entire season, but especially early on with Jerell Martin, who's not going to be there. And I think they've got to still those enough weapons to win games and to be competitive in games. I think Lat Mayen's set up for a really big year as well. So if Davis is what we saw and what we come with the reputation of, and he can deliver, if DJ gets going in his form and Isaac Humphries, the complementary pieces around Sunday Detch, Lat Mayen, they've got enough pieces there to contend and win games early. The depth is going to be a little of the concern. Nick Marshall's going to have to step up. What do we see from Jacob Rigoni, Ben Christie? We'll find out all this as the season unfolds, but a lot of question marks about all teams, and I'm looking forward to seeing what transpires here.
Tasmania played on Saturday, 89-76 against the Brisbane Bullets. So a good win first up. Things are a little different now for the team for the Apple Isle. They've been the hunters for 3 seasons, and now all of a sudden, as the defending champions, they're the hunted. If
there's any team you think that loves that challenge more than anyone else, it's a Scott Roth coach team, and I think that's exactly what Tasmania will show. The continuity's there. Yes, they've lost Jack McVeigh. How do they pick that up? We'll find out as the season goes, but here we go, some more pre-season hoops. The Adelaide 36ers in action for the first time at the Blitz, and Tasmania for the final time before they head off to the Intercontinental Cup. Vasiljevic, Davis, there's Lat Mayen, as Pete said, expected to have a big season, flashes to the cup. Good start, good play drawn up from Mike Wells to get things going. Again, Lat Mayen, this is a lineup right now with, again, you think about, okay, if Jerell Martin's not going to be there in the first couple of rounds, as Davis called for a foul, he doesn't like it. Didn't look like there was a whole lot there, but Lat Mayen's going to be their starting 4. And again, this is my biggest concern, is their bench depth around that. Okay, so it is going to be off the bench in that position. Alex Starling's going to be the backup 5 with Ben Christie, but Jacob Rigoni's going to be relied on a whole lot. And maybe we see only really a 6.5, 7-man rotation. Lat Mayen drags in that rebound, had 10 and 7 last weekend. There's a crowd building this afternoon here at the Gold Coast Sports and Leisure Centre. Beautiful venue, this one too. And late clock for Sunday Detch. That drops as well. It's a really good opportunity for guys like Sunday Detch, who we know was in and out of the rotation last year, but highly regarded as one of the best defenders in the league. He's going to get a lot of opportunity this year, and they're going to rely on him. 1, to set the tone defensively, but 2, he's going to have an offensive punch. Even from what we saw against Brisbane last week, Sunday Detch played 27 minutes. His minutes dwindled down to 14 a game last season, Pete. He's a better player than that. He is, no doubt about it. And again, he's going to have to play those minutes. I'm thinking of their round 1 matchup what they're going to have to roll out. Kendrick Davis, 35-plus minutes a game. Vasiljevic, 35-plus. If Isaac Humphries can stay out there for 35. Detch, Latmain, 30-plus as well. So they're all going to have to carry a very heavy load because this starting unit really is going to set their tone for the season. As Latmain again goes baseline. And sometimes the change of scenery, yes, he returns home to Adelaide, but the one side of it is, okay, we're short on a few players and contributors, but if you're a guy like Latmain, you lick your lips at that opportunity.
Adelaide away to a fast start. NBL Blitz, proudly supported by experienced Gold Coast. Isaac Humphries with the rebound there. Davis pulls up in transition. Look at the 36ers go early.
He's an exciting prospect. Kendrick Davis, make no mistake, comes in with the reputation as a scorer. We've seen that. The question mark again around it, I think, is tends to get a little overzealous in terms of dribbling the ball, but again, they keep harping on about it. They're going to need that. They're going to need that scoring punch.
Anytime I think about dribbling the ball in Adelaide, I think about that Connor Henry timeout from a few years ago, by the way.
That is iconic.
Krislovic couldn't keep Humphries off the glass. An 11-0 start for Adelaide.
And Scott Roth, I don't think he's blinked. And this is notorious of what he does in a preseason. There's been a lot going on in a couple of early games. Even the first game they played against the Bullets, he stayed cool, calm and collected unless someone took a really bad shot, and then he fired up. He knows what's going on, and they've got some games to play.
Helps when you've got a guy like that.
And I think Milton Doyle's set for that all-NBL caliber season once again. When you lose Jack McVeigh, you can't replace him with one play. It's got to be by committee, and when other players will step up, expect Jordan Crawford and Milton Doyle's shots to go up, their shot selection even more, and they need that.
Walter Brown with a rebound, or had it, and then stolen away by Latmain. 6.5 minutes to play in the first quarter. If you have just joined us, Adelaide have come out, all guns blazing.
Bad defensive breakdown from Tassie. And again, Scott Roth just not flinching whatsoever. And that right there from Kendrick Davis, that's a question mark going into the season. Saw it a bit in the game against Brisbane in Mount Gambier. A lot of teams are going at him. They're going to test him out defensively. And yes, you've got a great rim protector in Isaac Humphries. He's regarded as one of the best defensive big men in the league. But you can't allow that to be a fallback of, I'm not really going to try and lock up. If I get beat, Isaac's there. Because now that's a foul on Isaac Humphries. And again, with how shallow they are in some positions, you just can't allow silly fouls like that.
Walter Brown checks out. Craig Sword into the game for the first time Sunday. Detch, as easy as you like.
The start here from the 36ers.
The JackJumpers just look a little clunky. We mentioned Adelaide and some of the off-season tumult. You can see why they want to start well. Milton Doyle has all 5 of the JackJumpers points.
No flinch from Scott Roth on that either, offensively or defensively.
Just had the 6 points on Saturday, Milton Doyle. 3 of 9 from the field. Push on Krislovic. What have you liked from the Blitz so far, Pete?
On court or off court or everything?
Either way,
well,
we can start off court if you like.
Again, I just love, it's a summer league vibe, right? I've been in the last couple of summer leagues, but to be around and you're running into every player, you're running into every coach at some stage. It's really fun to kind of get that in the preseason. Kendrick Davis and Jordan Crawford getting broken up here. 4.5 minutes in to a preseason game, and there's a bit about it.
Well, we learned from last year, Jordan Crawford's not the type that's going to get pushed around.
And Kendrick Davis comes with the reputation of not taking a back step either. But I love it. It's a great feel, and it's a beautiful part of the country, no doubt about it. As Vasiljevic tees that up from the Sunshine Coast.
This time puts the ball on the floor. Sword reaching in.
But even at where everybody's staying at the Royal Pines, you're getting in an elevator. You had breakfast. I had breakfast this morning with Sean Bruce and Alex Tui. Yesterday I had breakfast with Will Magnay. All these chances to run into everybody, you find out some things about what's going on. Chances to run into everybody, you find out some things about what's going on. Chances to run into everybody, you find out some things about what's going on. Chances to run into everybody, you find out some things about what's going on. Chances to run into everybody, you find out some things about what's going on. Chances, not just at the Blitz, but one person stands up. I've spent more elevator rides with than any other person in my life, and it's Ray Borner, the legend himself.
He's just
walked in. I literally once a week, it seems I end up in a lift with Ray Borner somewhere, whether it's around Melbourne or it's during games. I don't know what it is, but the legend himself.
A sword from the corner. First look, for me personally anyway, live of Craig Sword, Pete. Interested to see offensively what he can do, but more importantly at the defensive end. He comes with a reputation of being an absolute padlock.
Yeah, and that's exactly what they need. You think about last year, yes, they won. They were champions, but they probably weren't at the defensive level throughout the entire regular season that they showed in the first 2 years. A lot of that is personnel, but Craig Sword will fix a lot of that. Talking to Scott Roth a little bit, probably came in a little underdone from what they would like, but that's what the beauty of the preseason. I expect him to play a bit of minutes in this game, and especially in Singapore, so that he's ready to roll when the season tips off. It's Jason Kadee. Good drive and dish. Hits Kadee in the corner, and he's familiar with this stadium. I think last time the NBL played in this stadium was back when I was playing against Kadee, and he was at the Bullets. That was a long time ago.
He's still playing, and
I'm here.
You're here.
Oh, that's probably the last time I broke a sweat.
So Cairns and Sydney still to come a little bit later on. Love being up here for the NBL Blitz. Over 160 experiences within 30 minutes of the heart of the Gold Coast. Broadbeach not that far away. Sword backing in. We've seen Brody Nunn with some first quarter minutes, Pete. Great story, this one. Talented young NBL 1 South player. Played with Knox in the off-season.
Also, there you saw that reputation right there from Craig Sword. And he was moving his feet with DJ Vasiljevic, nearly forced a turnover.
And jump online now, scan the QR code that's on the screen and get yourself NBL 25 ready. Can we get these Tasmania Championship jerseys? Are they for sale yet?
Well, I sat down I had a 45-minute huddle podcast with Scott Roth yesterday, and it was a fascinating chat. And right in the middle was a jersey, and it had the gold logo on it. I think it might have been the first time he saw it in person almost. He was going to take it himself. I'm like, Coach, I reckon you can get your hands on whatever you want down in Tassie, to be fair. And there's Craig Sword with the foul on Vasiljevic, leaving his feet.
I think you'll find if next time there's a state election up for grabs, if Scott Roth wanted to run for Premier,
he'd win it too, wouldn't he?
He probably would.
There's DJ. Fade away, just got Craig Sword in the air. He's always going to go to the free throw line after that.
Averaged a little under 18 points a game last season. DJ Vasiljevic shot the three ball at 32%, which is, for most, they'd be happy with that clip. Knowing DJ the way we do, he probably wouldn't be so happy with that clip.
Yeah, no doubt. And again, some of the stuff the media that's come out the way he was talking to Leonard Copeland, and Copes was saying that DJ's got a bit of a chip on his shoulder because he thinks that he should be in the conversation for all NBL. And to be honest, he's probably right. And I think being in the conversation he is, whether people had voted for him in the preseason is another question, but I think he'll be around the mark because he's just got that level of competitiveness about him and ability to do it.
22-5 in the opening quarter here. Monday Night Hoops at the NBL Blitz. Nice finish from Craig Sword. You get the feeling, Pete, that very quickly he's going to become a cult figure at My State Bank Arena.
I'm not sure how many games he will start, but I think there's going to be a big group of them that Craig Sword starts at the 4, you could say. Majuk Deng will have some minutes there. Anthony Drimmick just to really play undersized. Ruben Tarangi, and they switch a whole lot. But again, they have the ability with Magnay down low that you can switch things, you can kind of get away with things because he's the best rim protector in the league. And just as the crowd starts to slowly fill in, 5 o'clock still, so people finishing some work and getting over here. Just to set up keep using the word vibe, but it's what it is.
It is.
You could see an NBL team here, couldn't you?
Absolutely. Absolutely. There's a lot of hype. Even the taxi driver this morning, when I got the lift from the airport, Kadee, with the left hand, even the taxi driver asked me straight away, when are we getting a team? I said, well, it's not far away from what we understand. It's getting closer.
Oh. Thought you were about to tell me you just dropped a nugget on him, just be like, here's what's happening.
No, I would be the last person to find out, I would say. Brody Nunn wide open, can shoot the 3 ball. Looked good out of the hand.
Struggled the other night. Played almost 30 minutes because Jordan Crawford played the first half and that was it. And I think we'll see something similar in this game from Scott Roth. Magnay coming off the bench. Milton Doyle will probably play a bit of this first half.
Alex Starling out there for his first minutes. Out there with Vasiljevic, Kadee, Marshall and Sunday Detch. Steindl, Nunn, Doyle, Magnay and Majuk Deng, one of the heroes of last year's championship series, on the floor for Tasmania.
We kind of forget it, don't we? Because of the shot of Jack McVeigh, because of some of the performances from Magnay, Jordan Crawford in Game 5. Majuk Deng was massive in getting them over the line.
That Game 3 performance, Pete, you could argue it was a nice knockdown 3.
That'll help with confidence in the young fella, Ben Christie, local Adelaide boy.
Just back on Majuk Deng. Magnay rolls to the basket. Good luck stopping that.
Thought he was going to get a welcome to the league moment there, the young fella.
Davis in board.
Offensive foul there.
Offensive foul.
Starling, a push off.
Well, 25-10.
Normally you see most coaches with the start that the Adelaide 36ers had on Tassie, they might call a timeout, try to settle things down. I say most because, one, it's not going to happen in the Blitz, but two, Scott Roth's just not that guy either.
Nope. Nope, he's happy to let things play. Nice from Brody Nunn. Love that feeder system, Pete. NBL 1 now is a genuine pathway for young guys like Brody Nunn, who had a little stint at college, but has come back, put his head down, worked hard, and now gets an opportunity as a DP.
Exactly right. And again, you're going to a place, yes, they're champions, but you're going to a place that is proven to improve your game and get you in a rotation. Is the no-dip 3 from Jason Kadee. Unless you're a knockdown shooter, you don't appreciate how hard that is. The no-dip, the ball comes in a bit high. You haven't got time to release to get to your normal shot routine. Speaking of beautiful shot routines,
Majuk Deng upstairs. Thought he was fouled. The rims are rattling here at the Gold Coast Sports and Leisure Centre. We've seen some big jams already in the first couple of days. Shout out to Lockie Olbrich in particular. Kadee catch and shoot 3, fouled. 3 free throws coming his way.
That's one of those ones, the pass from Nick Marshall. Nick Marshall, he's right-handed, but he's very left-hand dominant with the way he likes to get down to the middle of the floor. Even on that one there, the closeout, the way Majuk Deng closed out, he had a right-line drive and decided to push it on the left, and in the end, it was an easy way for Deng to move his feet. That's the ones where you've just got to settle down and react to the way the defense is playing.
A 16-point lead for Adelaide. As we mentioned, both teams at pretty different stages in their preparation.
The more that I've talked around a lot of other teams here over the last couple of days, every club's identified, besides Tassie because it's a unique situation, every club's identified one game they want to have as close to a real regular season simulation as possible. Minutes, the rotation we'll expect in round 1, maybe some of the plays. So, no talk yet on, I think Adelaide again will be in a unique situation themselves, but
Deng forces his way in. Would that all be predetermined, Pete, beforehand as well? They
For sure.
Sort of talk about what they're trying to get out of each game?
Absolutely. I think that's the key way to do it is, okay, let's get some rotations through as Kendrick Davis and Majuk Deng.
No, sir. Majuk Deng.
To be fair, Kendrick Davis a bit unlucky there because Majuk Deng was hiding, I think, behind Gorjok Gak. It just came out of nowhere. Thought he had a layup.
Here it is again.
Majuk Deng. It was Ben Gristi and Gorjok Gak, and he came across and...
Long rebound falls to Nick Marshall. Back end of this first quarter. If you're a 36ers fan watching on, one thing we know about this team is they're going to be very offensively minded. Shot clock expires.
They're just going to come together and see whether Tassie had enough possession to call that a change in possession or the ball was still up for grabs. And if the ball was still up for grabs, I think this is a shot clock violation. I don't think Jordan Crawford got enough of it to say that it was a change of possession. So that would have gone back to Kendrick Davis and the shot clock will expire. There it is. Ken Widgeon saying exactly what we were talking about. That's the right call. And on that, I think Melbourne United identified the Cairns game, the first one they played, because of the history against Cairns, and they always seem to get the best of them.
So shot clock switched off. Gak misses Crawford on the way past. He'll have to throw up a prayer. He's pretty familiar with doing that. Quarter time, 31-15 lead to Adelaide. They have come out all guns blazing in the first term.
They sure have. What a start, 11-0 start. Couldn't ask for much better, especially for Mike Wells' first Blitz game. It's also an interesting concept for them right now when you've got to understand that you're playing against, yes, the champions, you're playing against another team in the league who you want to test yourself against. And Scott Roth's playing chess. Yeah. Scott Roth understands, like, this is a long game. We've got a lot going on. We've got a flight to Singapore. We've got 3 games in 3 days, and he's not showing any of his cards. So it's hard to kind of measure yourself against all of that, but I think that all that Adelaide can focus on is themselves, and they'll be happy with that first 10 minutes.
Yeah, so do you just worry about what you're doing then?
You have to.
Yeah.
You have to. Unless you get, like, certain intel, you see certain patterns in the first quarter, like, hey, this is their game they've identified, which was Melbourne against Cairns, and what I think we'll see from, trying to think of who plays when, but South East Melbourne, I think, play Sydney on Wednesday. Yes. I think that's going to be the South East Melbourne game where they don't rest everybody for the whole second half. And I think certain teams are going to see that. Might be Sydney towards the end of the week.
Here's some of the first quarter highlights. If you're watching, you're seeing a lot of Adelaide buckets. 31 points in the opening quarter. Very nice start. Milton Doyle always knows how to fill it up. As we mentioned, still to come a little bit later on. Cairns and Sydney. As soon as we finish up, a little short break here at the Gold Coast Sports and Leisure Centre. And then the second game of the night coming up. Pete Hooley and Jack Heverin. Great to be joined by Pedro Bradshaw, one of the new star recruits the Cairns Taipans leading into NBL 25. Welcome.
Hey, thank you. Appreciate that, man. Glad to be here.
How's it all gone so far? I got to catch up with you yesterday for a little bit of a feature interview, learn a bit more about you. We've seen you on the floor now, but tell us, sum it up a little bit about since arriving at Cairns in the NBL, how it's been.
Oh man, like yesterday, getting the opportunity to like actually play somebody else finally. I think we've been getting tired of beating each other up the past several weeks, but no, man, it's an amazing league. You see why, you know, so many stars and guys from especially America are coming over here just to join and be a part of something as special as this. So it was a lot of fun for me. So we got a really young team, but we got a lot of weapons, a really great group. So I'm excited to see what we can do. So
you've been part of the Summer League in the NBA before, and the NBA experience. This is the Blitz is what we're almost trying to create that summer. Can you feel that?
Yeah, I definitely feel that. With everyone being here in the same place too, you know, you play You play a team, and then you're eating breakfast with them that morning. So it's kind of funny, though. But then, obviously when you know guys from certain teams or certain coaches, you get to reconnect with them. So that's always good.
The 36ers shot clock down to single figures. Davis has been very, very aggressive. We're going to see a lot of that this season. So, Pedro, I mean, you're still getting a handle on who's who in the league, but just from a style point of view, what's different to some of the other places that you've been? Is it more physical?
It is very physical, but the pace is also very high. I think it's second in the world compared to the NBA and the G League. So in that regard, it's not too crazy. But I do notice I was asking Shay Lee yesterday during the game. I was like, yo, man, is it normal for the NBL team to press each other the entire game? He was like, yeah, bro.
You probably asked the wrong person.
You asked the wrong guy.
That's true.
Not everybody's Shay Lee, I'll tell you that much.
That's true. That's true. But no, he's like, yeah, bro, it's just like that here. But I kind of like that, though. It makes the game that much more up-tempo and fast-paced and competitive, so I kind of enjoy it.
Tell you what, Jack, the sit down with this man right here, getting to know a bit about him. Great player, but he's a funny man. And
we need more of that.
And I spoke to a couple of his teammates as well.
There's only a couple of us, so we need more of that.
As I was leaving, they're like, dude, Pedro, man, that dude is an absolute character.
Hey, man, I just enjoy making people laugh, man, and trying to keep the mood light. I think, obviously as professional athletes, man, we deal with so many pressures, off the court and on the court. So it's kind of nice to have that bright spot every once in a while where you can just laugh and smile and, just kind of help yourself get through it regardless of what's going on.
Wild airball there from Brody Nunn.
Back-to-back airballs for the JackJumpers.
As we mentioned, they are on the plane tomorrow to head to the Intercontinental Cup. So I'd say we're seeing about a 50 or 60% paced Tasmania JackJumpers here tonight. Getting some run into the legs of everyone. 2 more for Kendrick Davis.
Know much about Kendrick Davis before?
Yeah, I've known KD's game for a while. The past couple seasons, man, he had a really great year in the G last year with Santa Cruz. I think he averaged 17, 18. Really great guard off the bounce, shifty, can really shoot and score it at a high clip. So he was a huge pickup for Adelaide, man. Him and DJ, I think they'll work really well off of each other.
He's got that reputation for sure, and talking to some G League coaches around Summer League. That's what he can do. And again, the NBL, and you'll learn and see Pedro with the high pick and roll. It's very pick and roll dominant, and Davis takes another one, which right on cue. I think that's the second time Jordan Crawford's fouled a three-point shooter, and yet Scott Roth is not budging.
No.
That's peak Scott Roth in the preseason. But that is his reputation, playing off the ball screen, getting into the gaps. When you think about DJs as an elite shooter and Isaac Humphries rolling, I think we're going to see a whole lot of that.
Yeah, that's a huge big three right there for them. And again, Isaac Humphries has been a prominent figure in this league for a long time, so you see why he's so dominant, and DJ too. And again, adding KD to that mix, man, it's going to make them really special. So excited to continue to see what they can do.
Are you now? I use this word because before JJ Redick became the head coach of the Lakers, I was a big podcast fan of his. I love listening to the way he talks about the game.
All right.
Basketball sickos, he calls it. The guy, you can't get enough, but you look at the game, you analyse it differently. You're here. I know you've got games to play, but are you one of those who just loves watching basketball anytime you can?
Oh, my gosh, man. That's pretty much all I do. Like, I'm a big TV watcher in general. Like, I watch a lot of different shows and movies and things, but 85, 90% of my days, man, I'm going home after practice and watching film on certain guys that I like to watch, or like I had Coach Kez, he clipped up 12 minutes of film on DJ Hove for me, when he was with Cairns. Because before we played our first game the other night, I was just wanting to kind of get a feel for things and how I would be able to find my spots and my certain shots within the offense. And obviously he played under 40 a couple seasons ago, and he's a great player, kind of similar games in certain degrees. So that was kind of cool to see. It really was. So like I said, man, just continue to get adjusted to the style of play and the pace and the tempo and our offense in general. I think we're continuing to gel with each other too. So that's a big part of it. But the Blitz, man, it's a huge opportunity for that. It's very similar to the G League Showcase. Everybody's in the same place again, and you're seeing everybody, and there's NBA executives walking around and a lot of media walking around. So it's a good time, honestly.
We see Jordan Crawford with speed on display, much like we're talking Kendrick Davis. Your niche, 3-and-D type player. I mean, that's what you've made your name for and your reputation. Jordan Crawford doing that, sprinting down the sideline. How do you try and stop that in a defensive mindset?
My biggest thing, man, with a lot of like smaller, shifty guards, man, like, because I've had to guard the likes of like Carlik Jones, who was the MVP of the G League, you know, Sharif Cooper, guys like that. Those are usually my assignments whenever I'm in the game. And my biggest thing, man, is they're so shifty and quick, man, and have a great handle. I just try to like get up on them and kind of make it a little tougher and use my length. But if they're too fast for me, then I'll give them a step or two, man, and just try to use my length to the best of my ability. And, you know, if they're a tough shot maker or a tough shot taker, I'll try to just make them shoot over the length and live with the results at the end of the day. But Jordan Crawford, another really great player that's been in this league for a long time. I think is he from Cincinnati?
He is from Ohio, yeah.
He's from Ohio,
yeah.
So that's not too far from Kentucky. There's a Pro-Am league in Cincinnati that he plays in, so I've been able to kind of see him the past several years too. So he's an amazing player, man.
I know you said you watch a lot of game and a lot of film. Go back and watch Game 5 of last year's championship series.
This is just the first quarter.
Jordan Crawford's first quarter was out of this world.
Really?
I think he had a 20-piece in the first quarter. Kind of put that game in Tassie's favour on Melbourne United's home floor.
Oh, man.
I can see the way you're looking at it. You are going to go and watch that, aren't you?
Yeah, of course, man, because I've seen highlights and stuff, but it's different when you actually get to sit down and really break down a game and just get the total feel for it, man. Because sometimes just watching highlights, obviously, or just looking at the box score after the game, man, you don't get the full, the full thrill and feel of everything, what was going on. So
Pedro Bradshaw chatting to us here at the NBL Blitz. Timeout called 35-18. Adelaide in control of this one midway through the second quarter. So just take us back, if you can, to the recruiting process, because Pete and I are both unabashed Adam Ford fans. We love that man. He's so good for the league. He's so unique. How does the recruiting process happen? When does he start to get in touch with you, and what did you talk about?
I actually talked to my agents a couple of years ago about how much I love the NBL. You know, I've only been a fan from afar for so long, but just seeing how it's exponentially grown the past several years has been amazing to see. You know, it's really dope. And also, again, my goal is to like officially be in the NBA and have a real opportunity there. So you've seen so many guys over the past several years coming here and going right over there. You know, Torrey Craig being a main guy doing that. So there's several others that's come after him. But no, Coach Forty reached out to my agent a little bit before Summer League. I got a Summer League opportunity this July with the Charlotte Hornets, so that was amazing. And so going into that, I had this deal here, and that kind of gave me a little more sense of security. So I was kind of able to go out there and just fully enjoy it, you know, and play with house money. So it was fun altogether, man. And then I officially signed after the first few games of Summer League and was locked in from there.
I'm a bit flat about that because I'm very close with 40. And he spoke to me probably a month before, when they clearly had already had you in their prospects in the future. And he said, yeah, we've probably got our guy. He's like, I can't give you the name yet. And then I went to cover Summer League for the second time for the NBL, and they still didn't tell me. And I was like, man, I could have caught up with him. I could have actually gotten to know him while I was over there. Some people do like to say that when we both have fresh cuts, we're like brothers. You see it? Do you see it?
I see it a little bit.
Yeah, no, I don't have the tats, though.
I beg your pardon?
Yeah, it's very, very.
Because I don't see it, if I'm being honest.
just two good-looking roosters, mate.
It's all a compliment. It's all a compliment. The tats are crazy, though. I asked him, I was like, hey, man, did these tats on your knuckles and stuff hurt? He's like, nah, Mike. All right. But no, Forty's an amazing coach, man. He's very unique. He's unlike any coach I've ever played for, man, up to this point. And there's a method to his madness in everything that he does. You know, every situation, offense, defense, the way he coaches, even all the way down to the way he ties his shoes. So there's a method to literally everything he does, and I love that about him. And he has such a fire and competitive nature about him that, you know, it makes guys want to run through a brick wall for him.
Let's finish there from Ruben Tarangi. Late call-up for the JackJumpers this season with Jack McVeigh headed to the NBA.
I think he's going to thrive in Tassie, to be honest, Jack. And there's Kendrick Davis stopping on a dime, because Ruben Tarangi, we remember when he was dominating in Brisbane, 6th man of the year, most improved player, and there he is again. That's a really smart veteran move. He was going to pass that, realised the whistle was going to come and put it up. But I talked to Mika Vakona the other night during the game for Tassie, and he was talking about Jack McVeigh leaving, and he said that Ruben, he said, I think he's going to be massive for us. And obviously they've got a connection, but the way that Scott Roth plays, the way that Scott Roth coaches, and the way that Ruben can fit into Tassie's system, I think he's going to go back to that confident Tall Blacks.
Yeah.
That's the Ruben Tarangi everybody wants to see. Runs around for the national team.
Tarangi's the best Tarangi, isn't it?
No doubt about it. You had a chance to go out and do anything since being on the Gold Coast?
Nothing crazy yet, man. I want to go to Movie World. I want to go there. I think Heath is supposed to hook me up with some passes.
Oh, come on, Heath. Oh, that probably won't happen then.
Uh-oh.
He's still getting into it here. Kendrick Davis and Jordan Crawford. There's a little bit more to this.
It sure is.
I like it. I know it's just preseason, but let's get that competitive. 2 elite point guards. One of your other new teammates actually had a few words to say on the court. The microwave, Rob Edwards.
Oh, yeah. That's Rob, though.
He looks fun.
Yeah, man. Rob's a hoop, man. I've known him the last few years, obviously competing against each other in the G League, and he was always my matchup, too, whenever I was in the game. So I always had the responsibility of trying to somewhat stop or contain him. It's a lot easier said than done, as you guys could probably see the other night. But no, man, Rob is an elite scorer, man. Like he's got such a strong frame and a strong body, man. He can really shoot the ball, get to a spot in the mid-range, get to the paint, get to the free throw line. Offensively, there's not too much he can do, and then defensively, when he's locked in, man, he's a really great defender too. So he's a huge part of what we want to do this season, and he's a key piece for us.
That is a thing of beauty from Milton Doyle.
It's a bucket. That's a tough bucket.
He is a bucket, Milton Doyle. I reckon we're going to get back to all NBL caliber MVP type season from Milton Doyle. The silent assassin.
Humphries rolls to the basket. Foul on Magnay or Doyle. Take your pick. So Movie World while you're here. What else while you're in Australia? What do you want to tick off in the next 6 months?
Great Barrier Reef, right?
Yeah, that's definitely on my bucket list.
It's just around the corner from where you are, pretty much.
Yeah. I'm just worried about getting sunburned.
Now, why is that? Because the story is going around the Cairns Taipans camp that one of your other new teammates found out the hard way.
Yeah, man. He didn't go out there with any sunscreen, man, and came back with a crazy farmer's tan and was red as a lobster, man. So
he said a couple of days later he started peeling.
Yeah. I don't want those problems. So, but yeah, I want to do that. I want to continue to see the beaches. I'm all for amusement parks and things like that. So I'm usually more of a homebody. Once I leave the gym, I'll only leave for like food or any essentials I need at like the store. But like I said, you're in a whole new country, man. It's beautiful here. The people are amazing. So I just want to continue to enjoy all that, in its essence.
You know what? I completely believe what he just said, Jack, because there was no talk of gillies.
Wow.
He laughed. So he must
I've heard of it. I've heard of it. I haven't been in there yet, though.
That's a rite of passage, really. There's certain things in life you've got to do once, Pedro. You don't have to do it twice, just once.
Right. Just got to experience it for that one time,
And then you make your own mind up after that.
As Milton's starting to be a little bit more aggressive. What I've seen from Milton Doyle and John Crawford these last couple of minutes is that maybe Scotland's had that conversation with, hey, we're going to put you on ice at halftime. And maybe they don't. Maybe they come out and try and get a bit more of a run. But they look like two guys who have been told they're going to play the first half and then they might sit down.
I can't help but sort of just jump ahead and have a look on the NBL app, Pete. For the first time that Adelaide and Tasmania play each other during the regular season, to see Davis and Crawford go at it again. This could be box office, this matchup.
Yeah, if they're going to start doing this in the Blitz and going back and forward, I love it. Because, again, they've got chips on their shoulder. Everyone always talks about, Jordan Crawford, chatting to him all last season, everyone's always counted him out. He's too small, he can't achieve this, he can't do this. And no doubt Kendrick Davis, people have said the same about him. But in the end, you know, Pedro, you've been around long enough. When you're a bucket, you're just a bucket.
No, that's true. That's true. Sometimes you're just in the zone, man. Ain't nothing nobody can do. But seeing KD and Crawford go at it like this, even in the preseason, man, it's kind of cool. It really is. Like you said, that's box office right there, man. You got to get your popcorn ready when these two are on the court head-to-head.
Nice work from Walter Brown, the Kiwi. Turned the ball over, but won it straight back. And again, it's an 11-point game. It sort of blew out at one stage to 16 the difference. Humphries with a little push. There's the defensive wares of Ruben Tarangi. So every team's got different kind of ambitions at the Blitz here, Pedro, about what they're trying to get out of it. Have you guys as a team spoken about what you want to get out of this week?
We have. Obviously, 40's an extremely huge competitor, and we are too. But the biggest thing for us is this is our first time playing anybody other than ourselves for the past 5-6 weeks. So our biggest thing is continue to get better internally, and focus on ourselves more. Obviously, we're out here to win every single game, preseason or not. So the biggest thing is just making sure we're good internally, you know, knowing our play calls and continue to get a feel for each other. You know, just continue to build that team chemistry, and then by round 1, we're ready to go.
Zach Humphries on his way to the basket.
Now, just to be clear, you playing tonight? You playing tonight?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm playing.
I thought I'm coming over here, and I was like, oh, looking forward to catching up. And I was like, oh, maybe you're just sitting out.
Well, I was sitting by my boy Taryn, and Heath was just like, hey, man, you want to get on there? I was like, yeah, cool.
Is this what you had to do to get the tickets, was it?
I guess so.
To us
that's all right.
I guess so.
Fair.
I'll remind that if he says no at first.
You just make sure you get those tickets.
Yeah.
Hold that man to his word.
And this is fun, too, for me because, like, this is what I want to get into after basketball.
Okay.
So this is what I went to school for. I studied communications at Bellarmine University. You know, I got my bachelor's degree in communications. So this is everything I want to do. I want to be on. That's tough. It's a tough finish. Yeah, I definitely want to be talking and on the camera a little more. You know, I feel like I got the face for TV. But you know, we'll see what happens.
If you do say so yourself.
Yeah.
I'm with it.
I can be a little modest, you know.
You are always welcome at this desk.
I definitely appreciate that. I really do.
You might need to have a. I'd be tuning in if you do it like a road trip vlog this year for the Type Ends or something. I'd be.
I don't know about that one.
Get somebody else, of course, to follow you around.
Yeah.
You don't want to put. You got to focus on hooping.
Yeah. Maybe if Jazz is with us 24/7.
Yeah. All right, we'll put it out there. Come on, Jazz. Just bit of a GoPro action.
Good pass.
36 has beat the press and finish off Sunday Detch.
Sunday Detch does well. The corner 3 ball, loves the corner 3 ball. Is really good at spacing the floor. And Adelaide have just had an answer to everything. And this is interesting here also too. A bit of a 2-3 zone. I think with how shallow they are in some positions, I think Adelaide are going to try and play a lot of zone, especially early on with no Jerell Martin for the first few weeks.
Crawford inside for Krislovic. Humphrey's got a piece of that one too.
What's going to help stay in that zone is if you keep getting stops like that and it works.
One of the league's leading shot blockers last season. Been a very, very impressive showing here from Adelaide. Kendrick Davis, step back. No good that time, but he's going to be a lot of fun. Have you seen much of the Sydney Kings, Pedro, who you're up against next? What are you expecting there?
I know they're obviously a really good team on paper. Historically, they're always a great team. They have great rosters. Having Xavier Cooks doesn't hurt either. But no, we watched some film on them. But again, it's preseason, so win, lose, or draw. As long as we, I'm sorry. As long as we compete hard as we can, man, and focus on ourselves, man, I think we'll be happy with regards to the outcome. But we're playing to win every time we're out here. But no, I know they got Xavier Cooks, obviously Cam Oliver, Jalen Galloway. I think we played a couple games against them when he was in the U.S. Yeah. But yeah, they got a lot of talent over there, man. So they always have great rosters. So I'm excited to see what that looks like up close and personal.
That game coming up at 7:30 tonight. Check that game out on KO Freebies or on YouTube if you're joining us from around the world. All part of a week's long worth of action here at the NBL Blitz, proudly brought to you by Experience Gold Coast. Feel a bit sad in many ways, only here for a few days. I'd love to stay here for
I know, the weather.
The weekend beyond, to be honest.
It's a nice finish.
That's what DJ's going to have to continue to add to his game because every team's going to try and run him off the three-point line. He's got deep range as well. You're talking all the logos, decals. Milton Dorr tries to answer straight back. But he's not being afraid to put his head down, getting in the lane, maybe really working on that floater. Try and get across from the bigs.
Nice D from Walter Brown that time, the youngster. Did well not to foul.
There could be a real big opportunity for Walter Brown this year. With the departure of Jack McVeigh and some question marks around what they need going forward, and Scott Roth has shown he's not afraid to throw a young fella in there. He might be ready for some minutes.
Only played 12 NBL games so far and pretty limited minutes in all of those.
The pass.
Inside Krislovic. He's fouled by Kendrick Davis.
The fan watches a lot of games.
Yeah, for sure. They don't miss a stream, man. Even with us playing the time we play, I think it's 4:30 or 5:30 back home.
You had to hit them that you were coming on the air before, man.
I didn't know.
Tuning in now.
I didn't know, man. He pulled me up to the side. But no, they're probably knocked out sleep right now and got their alarms ready for another hour or so. But yeah, man, they're my backbone, man. They don't miss a beat. So I love them to death. I miss them.
Tassie, for as well as Adelaide's played the start they got off for. They're going to be around 12 points down at halftime, and they'll take that as a big win. Even though, if you watch Scott Roth, we had a camera on Scott Rothcam in the Blitz. It would not change whatsoever. That man is just cool, calm, and collected, just waiting for the real thing. Even then, he's pretty cool, calm, and collected on the sideline. Yeah, you know, if he's not, then something must have happened.
Must have been a really bad call or something.
Scott
Roth's getting worked up.
Maybe.
Bad cigar.
Yeah.
Yep. Very selective about his choice of cigar. And the final play of the first half. Davis getting creative. And it's the 36ers who put 49 on the board in the first half. It's our first time seeing them at the NBL Blitz. I think we know pretty quickly and pretty clearly, Pete Hooley, that this team is going to be able to score.
They are, for sure. They've still got pieces to come in. If they bring someone in to replace Jerell Martin early, or if he gets back to the Jerell Martin we remember, then there's going to be no problem putting points on the board. Defensively will be the biggest one. And after that, who knows what they can achieve.
So 49-37 at the main break. What happens next from a Tasmania point of view, we'll have to wait and see. They are, as we mentioned, jumping on the plane tomorrow to head to Singapore to play in the Intercontinental Cup. So a challenge for them to try and manage their minutes in this second half. Pedro, thank you for joining us.
I appreciate
that,
man.
It's been lovely to meet you.
Thank you, man.
Really excited for this Cairns team. They're a bit of an unknown, but that's quite exciting in its own way.
No, for sure, man. We like it like that. We like it like that. We want to be able to put a lot of people on notice and surprise a lot of people, man. So, like I said, man, we got a lot of weapons, man. I'm really excited about our guys, man. I really am.
Quick break from us here at the Gold Coast Sports and Leisure Centre. Third quarter coming up next at the half. It's a 12-point lead to the Adelaide 36ers. Want to stay up to date with all the latest direct from the NBL?
That is enormous!
Well, download the free NBL app now. It's jam-packed with live scores, stats, exclusive content, and much more. Get it from the App Store and Google Play now.
Visiting the Gold Coast for the first holiday, I would say just beware because you might not want to leave. You might want to stay. So definitely a beautiful place to be at. The food, the people, the scenery is great. I would definitely encourage you guys to come out. Bringing your family here to the nice sanctuary is also just amazing as well. So I think it's just a great place. This has definitely been one of the best experiences that I've had so far at the Gold Coast. I would recommend everyone come out and check it out because I'm loving it.
Seeing the koalas with our little koalas.
Discover the ultimate in courts, Dream Courts, the official court partner of the NBL. As the leading experts in tailor-made courts, there are so many reasons to choose Dream Courts. Whether for casual backyard enjoyment or professional-grade competition, the fully customisable courts redefine how you play. Dream Courts offers an unparalleled playing experience for everyone. Elevate your game with a Dream Court designed just for you. Visit dreamcourts.com.au to get a quote today.
I'm thrilled to tell you about Swim Start, a game changer for our littlest swimmers. Swim Start is making waves by breaking down barriers for learn to swim lessons in Queensland. We believe every child should have a chance to learn this important skill. That's why Swim Start is offering vouchers valued up to $150 for eligible children up to 4 years of age. Parents, carers and guardians, this is your chance to dive in. Check your eligibility online and apply now to create a generation of confident swimmers. Let's make a splash together.
Great Great to have your company for day 3 of the NBL Blitz. We're at the Gold Coast Sports and Leisure Centre here on the Gold Coast. The NBL Blitz proudly supported by Experience Gold Coast. At halftime in Game 1, it's Adelaide who lead 49-37. Pete Hooley and Jack Hebron with you in commentary. They're good to watch, Adelaide. So far, so good.
Yeah, they are. No doubt about it. And again, it's just going to be a building blocks process to figure out exactly the way they want to play. But it's no surprise that clearly they're going to try and play fast. Again, my biggest concern in watching that in the first couple of rounds is that's where I think they're going to be at their best, because Kendrick Davis is so quick. His agility, his ability to get down on the ball screen and play with that is the motor of Isaac Humphries trying to do that.
Yep.
And again, how is that sustainable with their bench? Is Mike Wells going to say, look, we're 2 options, right? We're probably 7 deep right now with what we're going to be able to run. Am I okay with doing that? Or am I saying, you know what? There's no better time to throw the young fellas to the fire, and I'm going to throw these guys in there for as much as I can get out of them, and then hope the rest of the guys can pick up the slack.
Well, we saw Ben Christie for 5 minutes, knock down a nice 3, step back out, and the range looked good. Jacob Rigoni got a little bit of time out there as well. Tom Kubank suited up tonight as a late signing, so we may see him in the second half. And 6 minutes from Alex Starling. But Kendrick Davis and DJ Vasiljevic, Peter, I think there's going to be a lot of eyes on how those two work together. I had a good chance to chat to DJ before the game, and he said, so far, so good. Really like training with him, really like playing with him, love his energy, and he's pretty confident that it's going to come together pretty quickly.
Well, we're going to see one way or another, aren't we, when they can coexist. They're both ball-dominant guards who both need the ball in their hands. One's to create, one's to shoot. I'm fascinated to see that unfold. I still have a couple of question marks around it, but we'll find out soon as the GOAT, Brian Gorge, just walking past, getting ready for the next game.
Got the bum bag on?
Of course he does.
What is in that bum bag?
To be honest, I've asked him before, and you won't believe me, but I think it's just chapstick.
Is that it? Can you not carry that in your pocket?
No, he said it's just, maybe just in case he needs to add another. Maybe he's got 3 of them in there, but he's told me before he's like, chapstick.
That's bizarre. The Australian coach from the Olympics just gone. Here are some of the halftime highlights. Tasmania are managing their minutes, no question about that. They're taking care of their players and looking after all that and making sure that they don't overextend.
Yeah, no doubt about it. We'll find that out. What's coming next, exactly how much they're going to play in the second half. Maybe they get another quarter out of Milton Doyle or Jordan Crawford, Will Magnay, but again, if the first game is anything to go by up here in the Gold Coast, Scott Roth, we're going to see a lot of Brody Nunn. We're going to see a lot of Walter Brown. I am shocked with the lack of minutes thus far with Craig Sword, who they're trying to get into game fitness. How that plays out, I'm not so sure. But again, it's not just the fact they're going to Singapore. They're playing 3 games in 3 days.
It's a lot, isn't it? Yeah.
International games too. They're playing against some European teams and international teams. So they want to put on a good show for themselves, for the club, for the NBL. All of that is taken into account, and don't forget when they come straight to Perth for round 1, they play Melbourne United. So there's all this to factor into a Blitz game right now. It is a big start to the season for Tasmania, no question about that. Their fixture, they've got Melbourne again in round 2 at home at MyState Bank Arena, so big challenge for the JackJumpers. Don't forget, of course, Sydney and Cairns still to come a little bit later on tonight. Joel Peterson and Derek Rucker will be in these seats for that game as well. The Sydney Kings are absolutely loaded. And we just learnt a little bit more about the Cairns Taipans with Pedro Bradshaw as well. Half-time, though, here at the Gold Coast Sports and Leisure Centre. It is Adelaide firmly in control. Don't go too far. Third quarter, up next.
Play the game any NBL fan can win. Supercoach NBL. Be the coach. Challenge your mates. Win prizes. Head to supercoach.com.au today.
Want to stay up to date with all the latest direct from the NBL?
That is enormous!
Well, download the free NBL app now. It's jam-packed with live scores, stats,
exclusive content, and much more. Get it from the App Store and Google Play now.
Third quarter action coming up in a moment from the Gold Coast Sports and Leisure Centre. The NBL Blitz is proudly supported by Experience Gold Coast. It is the only destination where you can watch world-class basketball. You can hike through the ancient rainforest, which Pete loves to do. You can sip cocktails by a luxurious pool, which is probably more my sort of jam. Squeal on a roller coaster, discover diverse wildlife, and savour the finest of dining. And you can do it all in the same day. Sydney and Cairns coming up later on tonight. Pete, what are you expecting from that one?
I'm honestly, now that they're getting some injury reports, some resting opportunities, I don't believe Taron Armstrong's playing, and I am very, very concerned of what that would mean in this game. I say that because the non-Taron Armstrong minutes in game one against Melbourne were questionable because Kyle Adnam's injured, Jackson McCoy is not here. He might have come back, actually. He was away for personal reasons. But they need a point guard to run, because if they don't, then I'm going to see what I heard from this close scrimmage between Sydney and New Zealand, where it was trying to get the ball over half court was nearly impossible for the Breakers, because no matter what happens, you're going to have either Bull Quo, Azalea Arthur, Alex Tui, Xavier Cooks up in your grill, and that is a scary proposition.
We'll see that game coming up next. There's no doubt about that. The Sydney Kings are, I think, in the eyes of many, when we did our way too early predictions on NBL.com.au, most had the Sydney Kings as championship winners. Kyle Adnam just walking past us at the moment.
Apparently he's coming on tomorrow.
How young does he look still? It's incredible.
He loves the beach.
Drinks from the fountain of youth.
Loves
Kyle
the beach.
Adnam.
Just walk straight over from the beach, have a look at him. And he'll probably tell you tomorrow, I think he's going to join for the broadcast for a little bit. He's opening a basketball court, villa type thing in Bali.
In Bali?
Yeah, he's a big Bali fan. He's getting married in Bali next year. I'll let him tell you. I don't know why I'm telling you. That'd be nice.
That's outstanding. Have to go and check that one out.
There we go. We are going to see a few minutes here. Magnay, Doyle and Jordan Crawford. That's great for us.
How many of them we don't know, but they're out there to start the third quarter, which is great.
And the other side of it is maybe Scott Roth is thinking that this is our last chance to play against a club we're going to be playing in the regular season, so maybe I do have to treat this a certain way. And sometimes you also just can't hold back the competitive edge of your players.
That's right. Yeah.
So I'm out there. If we're playing a game, I don't care what it is, I want to be out there.
We spoke about this a little earlier for those who have just joined us, that Adelaide, on the other hand, have been pretty clear that for their stars, Humphreys, Vasiljevic, Davis, they want mass minutes into them tonight because simply they haven't played a lot so far.
Yeah, exactly right. And just trying to figure out not so much rotations, because I don't think there will be a heap, but whose time is it to go where? How do they get everybody on the same page as soon as possible? The offensive execution, the spacing, all of that just comes with time playing against the opposition. You can drill intra-squad scrimmages as much as you want, but none of that matters. As Isaac Humphreys, great take, and that's probably what separates Isaac Humphreys from every other big in the league. He's backing down. There's not too many back to the basket bigs in general, but right as soon as he tries to make a move, he can finish up and under, and he's really crafty with his finishes. That's Isaac Humphreys in a nutshell.
Opening bucket of the third quarter. Magnay wants a piece of it at the other end. Walter Brown has played some really valuable minutes so far at the Blitz. Unsuccessful that time around. The JackJumpers shooting the three ball at 27% in this game.
Yeah, unlike them, they've got a lot of weapons. And now they miss a big one with Jack McVeigh as Kendrick Davis gets downhill. Little tight rims, not getting the bounce. It's DJ, my goodness.
He's fired that from People First Stadium next door where the Gold Coast Suns play.
That's what he does. Got to close out wherever he catches the ball. With Kendrick Davis going to try and get a little steal here, and that'll get upstairs. Sneaky athlete, Walter Brown.
Yeah. Coming off a very good NZNBL season with Canterbury, Walter Brown. As you said, Pete, might be a name to watch in NBL 25.
That looked more of a foul than the one before on Ruben Tarangi. They don't like it, but the one before wasn't a whole lot in it. But even that one, I think for referees to understand that you've got a guy who's undersized against Isaac Humphries trying to match it. There probably wasn't anything too overzealous in it. Have another look here. Gets up and in, gives him some space. That bump there. Yeah, I'd probably, one more you can probably call it. I'm okay to let that one go.
Hashtag NBL25 on social media to join us. Give us your thoughts. What have you seen so far that you've liked from your team or from another team?
Any questions about
questions?
I've seen a lot of guys, their coffee orders, and it's not great. It's Milton Doyle. That's why I enjoyed seeing him play.
He's having a good performance. Milton Doyle, 16 points now. The game's leading scorer. Kendrick Davis has 13 for Adelaide to be their leading scorer. Which I think is something we're going to say a lot across the season.
This is something that, in terms of we just pick up little things, and I can't help but look at basketball in a different way when I'm calling it and analysing it, but Isaac Humphries is the only ball screen guy on this Adelaide 36ers team, and there's a lot of pick and roll in the offense. As Magna's just a couple of those now. Lap man or set ball screens, you can have guard to guard, but even on that one there, Kendrick Davis called up the big fella, and he was looking around as if, can someone else do it? Now, that's going to get tiring over time, and he goes 110 miles an hour. How much can they get away with that? Of him spacing in below the charge circle, the dunker spot, then having to run up because Kendrick Davis needs a ball screen. DJ Vasiljevic wants down screens and ball screens. And all of that combined, that's where I have a little question mark.
Well, I don't want to be the negative one, but I may as well ask the question. What happens if Isaac Humphries gets injured, particularly early in the season? And I'm not talking a season-ending injury, even just a 2 to 3 week type injury, particularly while Jerell Martin's unavailable.
Well, I think that's why, Olgun reported it last week, and the talk of Lamar Patterson, who was potentially having a tryout. He did have a tryout, potentially joining the team. That's not the angle they wanted to go down. They didn't think it was the right fit. And to be honest, now that I'm seeing this and understanding what's going on, I don't think it would have been the right fit either. I think Jerell Martin got brought in to be the Jerell Martin everybody remembers. He's coming off the injury, no doubt, but also to be the backup 5. Now, with him being injured, he's in a moon boot right now, and I don't think we'll see him for the first couple of weeks. I think that's just the way it is. Magna missed another one, but he's going to go to the free throw line. So if Jerell Martin's out for an extended period of time, however long that is, I think right now, and Olgun did report this, is they are looking for somebody to come in and take that role in the short term. But then what happens then is that if that player comes in and fits in really well, then you have a conversation to have when Jerell Martin eventually gets healthy.
36ers fans, scan that QR code on your screen now. I spoke to Matt Weston, the general manager of basketball, a little earlier. I'm sure he won't mind me sharing some of this information, which is the beauty of the Blitz. We get to get around and have a chat to teams and see what they're thinking, what they're planning. He said he was up till 3 a.m. making calls back to the States overnight. He's got another bunch of meetings and Skype calls booked. And
they're going to have to do that.
He said they've got 40 names at the moment. He's
40.
confident that they're looking at, and they're going to dwindle that down, and he's confident that they are going to be able to land someone pretty soon.
It's more names than I expected. Yeah, they're going to have to do that, no doubt. And again, how long that is, don't be surprised if whoever that replacement player that comes in spends a decent amount of time with the Adelaide 36ers, because they're going to need that on a consistent basis.
Well, they've still got an import spot free, don't they?
Well, with Jerell Martin out,
yeah,
for sure. And you're right, and with DJ, they've got the 2 marquees, so they do have that anyway. But Jerell Martin, if you have a nominated replacement player for him and what it can mean, and then what happens again when he comes back and healthy? Do they go after an exact same position, and then when Jerell comes, you kind of replace that? Or do they go after someone a bit more versatile where once Jerell Martin comes back, does someone else have to make way then, and then you've got 3 imports? So lots to have to think about, which is probably why there's 40 names on the list.
That's it. There's a lot to consider. Davis, little mid-range, Jay.
Also, don't underestimate how tough that position is to be in, right? You've gone to do all this recruitment, everything else that's happened in Adelaide. We're seeing some good signs here on the floor. But also, the way I'm looking at it is, it can't be round 2 without this replacement player here. They need as soon as possible to come in so they can have an impact. And there's an offensive foul. Craig Sword pushing off on Kendrick Davis. And whatever that looks like, they want to get him as soon as possible, get up to speed and understand, one, the league, but also how to play on this team.
Adelaide 36ers play Sydney on the Sunday of round 1 at Hoops Fest, so that's their first offering of the season. And then after that, they've got another 6 days. They'll play Cairns in Cairns in round 2. Round 3 on the Thursday is their first home game of the NBL 25 season.
Well, they've got that many names on the board. It sounds like what they're doing, they're waiting for the training camp cuts. And there's a foul off the ball. There's a bit of feeling in this one as well. The training camp cuts around the NBA, some guys who maybe didn't get the deal they wanted in Europe.
Which would be sort of in the next week or so, wouldn't it really?
Exactly,
a lot of them,
and a lot of that comes with, if you are the Adelaide 36ers, if there's a name on that list, then it happens early, but there's someone in particular, and there is no doubt there is one name on that list that they want. There is no doubt that how long do they wait for it? I'm looking at this and...
Is Halls hearing anything?
I'm going to. By the time I leave this Blitz, don't worry. Matt Weston, I know where you're staying. Yeah, I'm coming for you.
57-44. Day 3 of the Blitz here on the Gold Coast. Proudly partnered by Experience Gold Coast. Wonderful supporters of Australian hoops in the NBL. 15 points for Kendrick Davis. That's been an ultra-confident Sunday Detch that we've seen in this game. Not that time, though.
Those are the ones where Sunday Detch just has to be ready to catch and shoot. And again, Kendrick Davis does love to dribble the ball, dribbles the air out of it at times. Good take there from Craig Sword. But what he does is draw a lot of attention. That last possession, every jack jumper high was on Kendrick Davis. What that means is if you're Sunday Detch, if you're Lat Mayan, don't think too many teams will leave Vasiljevic, but you got to be in your stance ready to catch and shoot, because that spacing will open up and you got to be ready to let it fly. And again, I think that's the third play to clean DJ up.
It is.
Yeah, official with Mick Randall reporting that Jerell Martin will miss the next 4 to 6 weeks with a foot injury, which is what we've been talking about. And to be honest, he's missed so much time already.
That's the thing, isn't it?
And again, you're trying to put it all together and what this team wants to do and what they want to achieve. The amount of time he's missed already, now he's got 4 to 6 weeks before he can probably start running again and doing all of that, getting back to game shape, getting back to the Jerell Martin we all remember. By the time they get close to that, the season could be nearly done. If you really think about it, is that going to be enough? What happens there? And again, it all depends on what piece they find. But if they find the right piece, then who knows what could happen. The business side of things does come into play.
And the thing with that too, Pete, and we're no medical professionals, but you're dealing with the foot, which is a sensitive part of the body and can take longer to heal anyway. Times that by 4 when you're 6'10".
No doubt.
And there's a lot of stress going through your body.
Well, and again, I think was it a ruptured patella? I think that's what he came off last time,
yep.
If my memory recalls. There's a lot going on in my head during the Blitz, so forgive me if the specifics are wrong. But he hasn't done much but trying to get back out of that. Now he's got to deal with a foot injury. He's going to go back to square one of trying to get the rehab, the fitness. It's a very, very long journey for anybody. And trying to do that in the season, it's tough.
It's hard. It's really hard. I'm sure Derek Rucker, who will be here very shortly, if he could go back and reassess the top 15, knowing what we now know about Jerell Martin.
I heard he might have known, Joe. He might have known.
I don't think he would have known about the foot.
Hey, he's a smart man. Maybe he knew what was coming.
That's true. Juk Deng.
I haven't seen Ruck around the Pines Resort. Is he there?
No, he's staying with me. Where we are, we're there's that many of us here at the Blitz that we're spread over a couple of resorts.
Is that strategic, you reckon?
No.
Did Jalen Adams put a call in?
I very much like where we're staying. A couple of golf courses in close vicinity as well. So
I heard Jalen Adams and Milton Doyle said, nah.
Yeah, I think the reception's been interesting for Ruck in the first couple of days here at the Blitz. I had his back last year against New Zealand. I'm just not so sure I can do it again for him this year.
Well, there was plenty of contact in that one with Milton Doyle. Good to see him still out there. Nick Marshall, feet set. Great pass from Kadee.
That is spot on offense.
Great to see. Great job from Jason Kadee surveying the floor. I mean, everybody has spoken about that list, the top 15 beforehand. And a lot of people come to the general consensus of 100 people, if you ask their top 15, not one of those lists would look the same.
And I guess, and look, everyone's a fan and we're all passionate. We love our team and we're strong about that. But, I mean, opinions are opinions, aren't they? Everyone's got their rights to have one.
Well, I think it was 3 years ago I got asked to do the top 20 in the preseason, and it is a mighty hard task. And Tyler Johnson, the Brisbane Bullet, wasn't too happy with where I had him as an offensive foul. And we're going to get a challenge here from Mike Wells.
We sure are.
I tell you what, Mike Wells' challenge signal with the finger is a thing of beauty. Look at that.
Yeah.
Look at that. That is gorgeous. Just the flick. There's no aggression in it. That's the thing of beauty. So he's going... He's got a good case. He's got a good case. Ben Christie looks set. Have another look here. Ben Christie set. And Ben Christie actually gets pushed by Krislovic.
Which I think is why he's challenging, and because it happened right in front of him.
Yeah, he would have seen that directly across the court. But you've seen a lot of coaches call for... That was nice.
If you haven't seen that particular coach's challenge signal...
It's a finger in a circle round, in a circle.
For those who like their cricket, think Billy Bowden.
Yeah.
Bit eccentric, sort of bit over the top.
Yeah.
Didn't mind it though.
That was gorgeous.
There's Ken Widgeon, one of our officials tonight. Vaughan Mabry and Jackie Dover sitting now in front of the screen.
As long as they get the angle that we saw last coming through, the push from Krislovic, maybe they're looking to see was it excessive enough to kind of throw Ben Christie forward. I actually think even without the push, I don't know if Ben Christie did a whole lot wrong.
Yeah.
It looked like from our quick angle that he was just standing still. But I think I've only seen 2-3 coach challenges in the Blitz so far. I'd like to see some more because, again, this helps the referees, right?
That's it.
To really grow and to learn.
Miles on Twitter says Adelaide, I should say. Adelaide looks super good in the preseason so far and they don't have Jerell Martin healthy yet. Sky is honestly the limit in terms of talent on their roster. The only question is, will they be able to defend and build together? From a defensive standpoint, what do you think there?
I think that they're going to have to continue to buy into a zone, to be honest. And I don't like seeing the zone, but again, I'm talking of the depth and the pieces they have. Sometimes, have another look here at the challenge. They're still taking their time on this. He clearly gets pushed, does Krislovic. But Tassie think it's their ball. Tassie think it's their ball.
Ken Widgeon informing the scorers table.
So there we go. It's going to be Adelaide ball here.
Yep. So
I'm not sure whether they change it to an offensive foul or it's just a no call. I think it's a no call because you can't go and put the foul on somebody else. There's some particulars. The new rule changes are fantastic, by the way.
I wanted to get your thoughts on those. And Kadee late in the clock.
That's
Jason Kadee's having an afternoon.
That's why you challenge.
Back out now to 19 points for the Adelaide 36ers, which is now officially a game-high margin. 18 was the quarter-time difference.
Looking good offensively. And again, you asked me about the defensive question. Besides Isaac Humphrey's Sunday Dex, they probably don't have the pieces to do it. Some players, I mean, Latman can play D. Vasiljevic. Sometimes Kendrick Davis probably not. Kendrick Davis came with a reputation to be an offensive threat.
September 19, it all starts. Cannot wait for it. Kawhi Noy walking past us. September 19, every game, ESPN, KO, and every Sunday, Pete, live and free to air basketball back in the NBL and back on Channel 10. That's my childhood right there.
How good's that? That is beautiful. I cannot wait for that. It's going to be a big year. Starting in Perth as well, in Hoops Fest. I hope the reception's lovely for everybody travelling over there.
Speaking of Channel 10 and my childhood, I saw the great Steve Quartermain on Friday night at the MCG. He's very excited that Sunday Hoops is back on Channel 10. No good for Alex Starling. Late whistle, though. So every game, 2:30. Check your local guides, of course. on Channel 10, and then the follow-up game on Bold, which is fantastic as well. So free-to-air hoops all Sunday long.
Well, here we go. We may have had, I think we had a delay a game warning, not a coach's warning. The delay game is another rule change. Well, it's coming in. A point of emphasis this season is more on the timeout side of things. So it's limiting the timeouts, and I like that. Well, let's speed the game up in terms of we want to see action on the floor.
Oh, to be totally honest, there were some times last season where games went so much longer than what they needed to because there was so much messing around.
And again, a lot of it, when you talk about the timeout specifically, coming out of a timeout, one, yes, you can have coaches who do a bit too much talking in the time. But two, and talking to Scott Butler about this when they were trying to figure out how to tighten all this up, a lot of it is the assistant coaches. If you go back and watch timeouts, so say Scott Roth has finished sending his message, as the team starts to go out there, the 2 or 3 assistants are grabbing a player each and saying, hey, maybe it's a matchup or do all of that. That alone over the course of a game really adds up. In the moment it doesn't mean anything, but it adds up over the course of a game. And then all of a sudden you're minutes over the 2-hour window.
Steindl off the front. The other thing with that too, Pete, is that you get a timeout. Starling coast to coast. Nice finish. Can't get it to drop.
I thought it's a layup, Alex.
You get a timeout, and then the players will huddle after the timeout. It's that sort of stuff that I think the league are looking to try and stamp out early.
And it's very easy to do. And actually, this is something that I'd like to see going forward. So Alex Starling's shooting his first free throw with nobody at the line. You talk about huddles on free throws. How often is when a team's going to shoot free throws and you've got the referee saying, line up?
Yep.
It happens in under 18 national championships now. I don't know whether it's a directive or it's just become a trend. The first free throw, everybody huddles above the three-point line, and then after that they come in, and that alone, that's going to speed up the process as well.
22 points is the lead now for the 36ers. Speaking of what's to come, the Sydney Kings are up next against the Cairns Taipans, Pete. Just had Kelly Lepepe walk past us.
Big unit.
And your episode of The Huddle with him was absolutely superb. It's live now on all the NBL social media platforms. That is one of the biggest human beings I've ever seen.
Of all time.
Of all time.
And let me give you an example of that. We had the launch last night at the Star, and representative from each club was there. Dimmer was there. Damien Hardwick popped in just to kind of launch the Blitz and up in the Gold Coast. Kendrick Davis tees one up, and good take there good hustle there from Nick Marshall. Kelly Lepepe walked in with a nose ring and an Ed Hardy jumper. Now, cargo pants, everyone else in a collared shirt. Yep. It's smart, casual.
Yep.
He can get away with what he wants. I thought Dave Stevenson was like, that's fine. I think, no worries, mate.
Would you like a drink, sir?
Yeah, no worries. I think we should all wear Ed Hardy jumpers.
I'm assuming that's because he couldn't find a shirt to fit around his arms.
And again, we want to talk about some things that I'm hearing. You're not calling this next game, but we'll pass it on.
I'm staying to watch for sure.
There is a more than 40% chance that Kelly Lepepe is the starting 5 for the Sydney Kings in round 1. He's a starting 5-man.
Now that's a Hall's hearing.
So
we know Xavier Cooks will be there.
Yeah, he'll be there. It'll be things that I'm hearing, how well he's performing and what they want to go with is that he will very likely be the 5-man, and then Cam Oliver will be the main 6th man off the bench where just all the offense runs through him when he gets on the floor.
We'll see them to come.
Oh,
Davis slices through. They've had that sort of quarter, Adelaide. They lead by 22. They realistically could lead by 30 or more the way they've played. (73-51) here at the Gold Coast Sports and Leisure Centre. We did say pre-game that Adelaide are having their first serious hit out, so they were going to come pretty hard at tonight. And Tasmania have just perhaps been a little more relaxed from that perspective. Adelaide winning every stat that matters at the moment. 36-26 is the rebound count. Offensive rebounds 13-10. .40%, I should say, from outside the 36ers today. What about Mike Wells? There he is on screen right now. Pete, the new coach of the Adelaide 36ers. He's had a pretty short period of time to coach this team and understand the makeup of them. What are you seeing today? What's the brand of Mike Wells?
Well, I think I'm just seeing a team that's buying into the way they want to play, right? There's a certain speed about it. I do have the question marks about it, but again, I think if you're Mike Wells and you've got a style that you want to... This is his first head coaching role, right?
Yeah.
He's had a lot of assistants. His resume is incredible and a lot of talent around everything that he's been through since the Sydney Olympics when he was part of Team USA. So all those kind of runs are on the board, but to be a head coach is different. He's going to have... This is the style I want to coach going forward, and I want to make my own. So you can't change that because you might not have the cattle to do it in terms of depth or positions. So I think he said, look, we're going to do this right now, and how that goes in the season will be fascinating to watch in terms of can they get the motor in Isaac Humphries to do that on his own in the big man department for some time. Those kind of questions will be answered, but in the end, I like what I see, and you see a group of guys that are saying, you know what, we're coming along for the ride. Everything that's happened's happened, but let's give the Adelaide fans a show.
So the Leeds 22, if they really blow this one out, Adelaide, does it mean something to them to have a
I don't think
big
so.
win, or is it more about the method and the system?
If it was against probably any other team, I think it would mean something, but it's against Tasmania, who not queuing the rack, but they are thinking about other things. They're thinking about preserving the body, probably preserving the playbook, all of that, because they've got a massive couple of weeks coming up.
That's the NBL Blitz, proudly supported by Experience Gold Coast. No good for Clint Steindl. Walter Brown misses that one. The Gold Coast, of course, home to a number of premium sport and recreation precincts, including Queensland's largest tennis facility. I know you like to hit a tennis, Pete. And one of Australia's premier skate parks, which is located at Pitsy Park in Miami.
Don't mind a bit of racket action.
Not sure what you want to do with the skate park, but...
Well, that's this man next to me. So Joel Peterson's calling the next game. The tidbits he had in game one.
I
couldn't believe it.
That's Wiki Peterson. He's full of information.
That's pretty good. Did that just come to the dome?
Yeah.
That's not bad. Wiki Peterson. Might make that stick. I've got a couple of games with JP this year.
He's the intelligent one. We know your role, play your role.
Good hustle, Alex Starling. He's their backup five right now. Nunn lets it fly from deep. Good defense from the 36ers. Those are the possessions.
That's it.
Those are the possessions where it might not be perfect, but as long as you hustle, get in lanes, get deflections, good things will happen.
To start this last quarter, Magnay, Deng, Steindl, Nunn and Brown on the floor for Tasmania. Kadee, Marshall, Davis, Mayen and Starling. Been out there for almost the entirety of the game, Kendrick Davis. Lat Mayen looks to be a very savvy recruit.
He will be. Gone back home to Adelaide, Concordia College boy. Stand up, love that. And I think as well, Magnay get his feet set. Ronnie Nunn is not shy, Jack. He is not shy at all. So Kendrick Davis is going to get a lot of open shots to guys like Sunday Dech and Lat Mayen.
It's something definitely from a Tasmania perspective to take out of tonight is the form of Brody Nunn and also Walter Brown. We saw Scott Roth at times last season, Pete, kept his rotations pretty tight and pretty limited, but I mean, one thing we know about the NBL season, it is a marathon.
Yeah, it is, no doubt about it. And you want to just peak at the right time. If you remember Tassie early on in last season, they were struggling in terms of trying to put it all together, especially on the defensive end. And all Scott Roth cared about was, when we get to the business end, can we be playing our best basketball? And they were. You could arguably say, when it got to the very end, they were more prepared than everybody else. It's easier to say that now because they won, but if you look at the pieces they were putting together, and they were in close games, even though they were losing, it was close games. So they had all the pieces right there and then said, you know what, let's put it together in a 5-game series, and they're champions.
And Juk Deng long on that three. $78-54. Final quarter here at the Gold Coast Sports and Leisure Centre. Cairns and Sydney coming a little later on KO Freebies and around the world on YouTube. Lat Mayan. Classy move to the cup. It's now 26 points the difference.
Keep piling it up. Oh. They've caught a foul here. And this might be looked at from Mike Wells as well.
Successful last time.
Well, Mike Wells was just screaming at Nick Marshall saying, did you get all ball? And Nick Marshall said, look, I think so, but it's not worth it. And Mike Wells is having a bit of a chuckle. Not many coaches have 100% success rate, and I keep it. Keep the success rate.
That's it.
Here we go. And I think what Nick Marshall said was the foul wasn't on me, so don't ask me. And that is clean. I would have challenged that. That is clean. A little spark here from Craig Sword on the offensive end. Up to double figures now.
He's got a huge social media following. Craig Sword.
Chicken Sword.
Chicken Sword, that's it.
Shout out to the Sword family if they are watching. His family and the little ones just got down to Tassie, and then the next day he said, see you later.
Straight off.
I'm heading to the Gold Coast for a bit, and then I'm going to Singapore, then I'm going to Perth. So luckily the Tassie community, we know how much they rally around the team's families, so they would no doubt be doing that.
The life of a pro basketballer.
Again, a lot of us, a lot of people, a lot of fans, you forget about it, right? It's just, you just see the player trying to put the ball in the basket, and we forget about the human side of it. Good take there from Nick Marshall. Adelaide are piling it on.
So Nick Marshall, Pete, last year, in amongst a bit of other stuff that was going on with Adelaide, the change of coach and all that sort of stuff, but you would go to an Adelaide home game and all 36ers fans wanted to see more of Nick Marshall. Do you think we'll see that?
Well, he started again some games with Scott Ninnis. They're going to have to again. I talk about how shallow they are in some positions. So again, he's going to get another opportunity, and this is it, right? He's been right there. He's had chances. I think he'd agree that he hasn't taken them as well as he would have liked. But now is a real opportunity to crack into a rotation and show that you belong as Adelaide go back to a 2-3 zone.
And another huge NBL 1 season. From Jacob Rigoni, another local product. .638 to play in this one. Result well and truly taken care of, but if you're a 36ers fan, it's more about the method and it's more about the way they've gone about it. I was just looking ahead at the fixture, Pete, to the Thursday of round 3, where Adelaide will open the round with a home game, which will be their first home game. Are we expecting sellout first up?
Oh, they sell out everything now, don't they? Again, we have some incredible fans in the NBL around the entire league, but we gave a shout out for Adelaide. They were struggling on the floor, and the fans continued to show up. They never abandoned the team, and got a bit of excitement about them. I know there's everything that's happened in the off-season, but they still will support every single player. Again, I think there's a reason to be optimistic for sure. Tom Eubank in the game.
Getting his opportunity last week. Signed by the 36ers, Vasiljevic from long range.
Just getting a chance to fill it up himself now. It's 2-3 zone, they're back into it.
86 to 56. Vasiljevic now becomes the game's leading scorer with 17. Rattles in and out from none. No Anthony Drimmick. We mentioned that a little earlier, not playing again due to illness tonight.
And no Sean McDonald. Make no mistake about that. That is a key rotational piece. I talk about how their starting 5 is going to change. I wouldn't be shocked if at times we see a lineup, a lot of minutes played with Sean McDonald, Jordan Crawford at the 2, Milton Doyle to the 3, Sword at the 4, and Magnay at the 5. Good pass, and Magnay's missed a few around the rim.
Jordan Crawford at the 2.
And they just play ultra small, and they switch everything, and DJ said, you know what? I'm taking over. I'm taking over.
He's got a sniff of a big one all of a sudden.
Well,
he's up to 22 points like that.
He's hit the last 3 shots. It was a 3, a pull-up in transition, another pull-up 3 in transition. Do you know what that means? The next one's going up. Wherever he catches it, that thing is going up.
A fine from Tarangi, and Magnay that time around fouled by Christie.
I tell you what, I said it before with some of the rule changes and tweaks and how I'd like to see them huddling above the 3-point line. I've been watching this second half. I think it's happening.
Yeah, I do too.
I think they've actually spoken about it, and they've had, you get meetings up at the Blitz, it's referee meetings, it's Players Association meetings, and I think it's a point of emphasis, hey, we got no problem with your huddles. But as soon as that whistle's called, if you're not shooting the free throw, get above the 3-point line, huddle, and then as soon as that first free throw's done, let's go for the second one and play on. And it'll speed up the game tremendously, that small little change. There we go. Number 34 in blue.
Jordan Crawford paying a little extra attention now to Vasiljevic after back-to-back threes. And Kadee wants a lick of the ice cream.
Probably could have gave it to him, to be honest, coming off that first down screen. I think DJ's saying that down to Jason Kadee, like, I'm letting it fly anyway. Just let me get it.
Jordan Crawford comes out. Clint Steindl back into the game. I went back the other day, Pete, and I haven't done it deliberately. I just left it for as long as I could. Went back the other day and watched Game 5 of the Championship Series, just to start to really get into the mood for NBL 25.
It's
it's
fun to relive.
That whole series, remarkable.
Don't want to give away too much of what we do up here in terms of, you get to see a lot of the work that we do with interviews and stuff like that as the season progresses. But we're doing some features of like moments, right? And players talking on both teams as DJ Heatcheck, reminiscing in certain moments. And it's cool to see. We haven't got Tassie, but the opposition players, we spoke to Melbourne United about it, and those kind of moments are going to come together really well. And we haven't even had a chance to catch up. I've got a lot to tell you about some things that have been occurring. Let me tell you this, out of every team I've had so far to sit down and talk with, halfway through my 88 interviews.
88 interviews you're doing?
In 3 days.
Wow.
The Illawarra Hawks are an absolute vibe.
Really?
I tell you what, it is. I didn't stop smiling ear to ear for 2 hours talking to them. And there we go. They are huddling above the free throw line for the first free throw. I love it. I love these little changes.
We'll see Illawarra tomorrow night. They'll take on the Perth Wildcats. There's a QR code for JackJumpers fans. We know there's a lot of them in Tassie. And in many ways, they sort of became everyone's second team last season. If you weren't necessarily a JackJumpers fan, you followed them all the way through in the end.
Speaking of some other little tidbits from some interviews, and Taron Armstrong, a Tassie boy, playing for Cairns. He's not playing for this game next, but he opened up a little bit about if they couldn't win the title, he was cheering for his hometown team and how cool it felt for them to be champions. And it's that kind of close-knit group around the league. Everybody knows everyone, but he's obviously got a very personal relationship. His family does with Mark Radford, the Tassie assistant. So those are cool things to hear.
I can't wait. Just had a little look at the schedule on the plane on the way here today. Round 2, Saturday night. Tasmania versus Melbourne at My State Bank Arena. First JackJumpers home game of the season.
Banner unveil.
Cannot wait for that.
I know Scott Roth was a bit flat that we've got to play Melbourne United twice to open the season. I'd like to see it spaced out. We want to see the championship rematch a few times, but some things are out of our control.
Fixturing is well above our pay grade, Pete, you and I.
I know, a lot of us sit back and just like, oh, I'd rather this. Don't think about venue availability, all of that, travel, everything. Just do it.
There's a lot that goes into it.
Good take there from Nick Marshall with the left. And Adelaide continue to pile on the points. 7 points away from Corn Dogs for the Gold Coast people.
Shot clock down to single figures. Nice pass from Nunn inside to Gack, who rolls to the basket. Brody Nunn has done some really good things in this game.
Well, he's not shy on confidence. And again, when you're a young development player who's getting opportunity, you've got to be ready to take it. Sean McDonald is the perfect example of someone who just got given opportunity, earned it, no doubt, but then okay, you're a development player. Well, we need you. And he stood up every single time. And now Brody Nunn, I know it's the preseason, but this just is a little seed that's planted in Scott Roth's head. Like, if something happens out of our control and I need to rely on this kid in the season, I can get some minutes out of this.
Is he the sort of guy that you could use even just for energy, Pete? Like, if things are not going super to plan and you just need someone to sort of come in and get a bit of a spark, could he be that kind of guy?
I think Scott Roth would be one to look into that, because Scott Roth knows, understands that everybody's important to them winning. So if any coach is going to go that far down the rotation, if he's suited up, why not?
2 minutes 29 remaining. DJ Vasiljevic has 22 points. Kendrick Davis 15. Jason Kadee 14. Milton Doyle is Tasmania's leading scorer with 16. Craig Sword 10. Walter Brown's had a nice little night too. 8 points, 7 rebounds.
He's an exciting prospect as well. I think that's probably more likely to crack into a rotation instead of Brody Nunn for Tassie this year, but never say never. You going to get up on the links while you're up here at the Pines? You going to try?
Try Wednesday, potentially. I've got to go home Thursday, unfortunately.
I think I'm around similar. Apparently we can get a pre-first tee. So we can go before the first scheduled tee, apparently.
Which is what time? That's
6:20, I think.
Okay, that's fine.
Well, I'm okay with that too.
Could do that.
Especially the way I've last hit them. I don't need anybody else around.
Sun comes up early here on the Gold Coast.
Well, and there's some very good golfers around.
I'll wake up even earlier than normal.
Clint Steindl, I'm not sure if he's a single handicap, but he'd be close. Good take there from Rigoni. Found out Chris Golding is an 8.8 right now. Shaylee's at 12.3. And I caught up with Dylan Windler today from the Wildcats.
Yes.
Have a guess what his best handicap was when he was really locked into golf.
Was he off scratch?
Plus 2.8.
Wow.
So he said, asked me if I play. I said, I try. And he said, let's go have a round. He said, plus 2.8. I said, see you later, Dill.
You're more like 32.8.
Go enjoy that round, mate. I will caddy for you, but I do not need to be embarrassed like that. Great person.
Former college golfer, Dylan Windler.
He said it came down to a choice of golf or basketball, and he chose basketball. And again, just quietly, I think it's a game day decision for their game tomorrow with an ankle. He has a resume and a reputation to be a top 5 player in the league.
Top 5 player.
He is, without a doubt, the most credentialed import in the league. Played 5 years, drafted the Cavs, what he brings to them. Once he gets adjusted to the NBL, we're going to look back on the signing and being like, we really underestimated this signing for the Perth Wildcats, which is why I'm so high on them. And he's a great person as well.
I must admit, we were asked for our way too early predictions. I didn't have Perth in the top 6.
I think straight
after
that.
That was pre-Dylan Windler, though.
You've regretted it since.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Just the Windler signing alone.
Because the Wildcats fans have been messaging me and saying, I hope Jack Heverin comes over for Hoops Fest, because that is a disgrace. And
okay.
We know where he stays.
That's okay. I'm fully aware of what's coming, I think. But then I'll just ask them about what they thought of Rucker's top 15, and that'll get me off the hook with Bryce, Bryce at number 2.
Just Ruck under the bus. Actually asked Bryce Cotton about that today and had a couple of things to say, which is always nice. Dry listing, Bryce. I have you at number 0.5.
He will always,
as high as you can get.
As long as that man is taking in air and playing in this league, he will always be my number 1.
Absolutely.
I call him the benchmark because he is. He is the benchmark in this competition.
No doubt about it. It gets better and better. 4 MVPs. Should probably be 6. And D. Ruck calling the next game with Joel Peterson has just walked into the venue. And there was a big...
There was, wasn't there?
Yeah, everyone went silent in the crowd, being like, that's him. That's the one who did it.
That's the guy.
That's the guy who did it. And
final stages of this one. Matt Mahan has been a solid performer for Adelaide. That one doesn't go. The JackJumpers have got some obligations tomorrow morning, and then they will be out of here.
They are very busy tomorrow morning. It starts with, I think they've got a 3-hour meeting. Clint Steindl knocks that one down into a 2-hour media day session with us. Then straight down to Brisbane Airport. and on a flight to Singapore.
3-hour meeting is not what you need.
No, but it's part of it, right? So you've got to do it at the Blitz at some point.
Yep.
Normally it will be spaced out where you don't have to do everything in the same day. But unfortunately with their schedule, they've got to get it done, which means that I might be getting some interviews with some unhappy folks.
That's it.
But I'll try and turn that frown upside down.
With your calm and warming nature, I'm sure you'll be able to get the best out of them.
45-minute chat with Scott Roth will come out at some point as well.
Looking forward to seeing that. Nunn strips Marshall. Maybe one last chance for a score. Adelaide will next be in action on Wednesday. They'll play the New Zealand Breakers. For 36ers fans, you'll see that game, and of course, every game of the NBL Blitz live and free on KO Freebies. Adelaide winners, first up on the Gold Coast, 96-64 the final score. One thing has become very clear after their first outing. The Adelaide 36ers can find the bottom of the net.
They can. They got some buckets, make no mistake. Kendrick Davis is going to be mighty fun to watch. Vasiljevic had his little patch. And that's what Jerell Martin was talking about in the NBL roundtables. He wants to see, not necessarily, yes, 20 points a game, but not spread out. Yes, let Kendrick Davis be one of the leading guys. Let Isaac Humphries, but certain moments in the game, put the game to bed. Take over, 3 shots in a row, knock them down, really put your team on your back, and then really fill it up from that. But they've got some exciting pieces. The question marks we continue to speak about are understandable. And if you're a Tassie fan, take absolutely nothing away from the last couple of games and just look ready for the season.
DJ Vasiljevic, the leading scorer with 22 points. Milton Doyle, leading scorer for Tasmania with 16. As the fans shuffle out of the venue, there'll be a little break, and up next will be the Cairns Taipans taking on the Sydney Kings, the second game at the NBL Blitz for tonight. It's on for the rest of your night. Bulls?
Watch a bit of this game, get a nice feed. Been sitting in the same interview chair since 8 a.m, so I wouldn't mind a little early night. I've only got 4 teams to do tomorrow. And after that, I'm really going to be counting down, spending a bit of time with you on the links, hopefully.
Hopefully. Here's some of the highlights from across the game. We flagged this off the top this afternoon that there would be major minutes played for Vasiljevic, for Humphries, for Davis, just to get some run into the legs. And in many ways, that might explain part of the score, is that their 3 best players played the majority of this match.
Yeah, exactly right. It's the way it's going to be going forward. And really right now, my biggest watch is on who that piece is that's going to come in to replace Jerell Martin and how quickly they can get that player here.
What type of player should it be? Should it be someone a little more defensively minded?
No, I think, yes, but I think it's someone who's more than capable to play 30 minutes a game, 20, maybe plus 35, 25 at the 4, 10 at the 5.
Okay.
But that bigger body, that bigger presence, because I think that they're going to need that outside of Isaac Humphries when the season gets real. Will Magnay's not a roll the ball, go back to the basket guy. You think about what happens when they play a Cam Oliver, or they play a big, like Sam Froling, Keanu Pinder. That's where I have a few questions. If Isaac Humphries picks up a couple fouls and all of that. But they need to go and find that piece as soon as possible. 4 to 6 weeks is a long time. I think they're being generous.
It's a lot of games too, isn't it?
I think they're being a little generous. They have to be. I think it might be a bit longer than that, and that's concerning.
So some decisions to be made for the Adelaide 36ers front office. That's the big story, I guess, to come out of today, is what happens next for the Adelaide 36ers beyond this game and beyond this week as we head into round 1, and some decisions to make about their roster as well. For Tasmania, we've spoken about this a lot. They'll be headed to the Intercontinental Cup tomorrow morning. They'll play 3 games in 3 days as part of those assignments, which is a lot. And then they'll go straight from Singapore to Hoops Fest. So they're playing a lot of basketball in the next few weeks, Tasmania.
And a lot of travel. You've got to think about that. And yes, the travel on the body, the mental side of it, the physical side, but also the ability to be around no family. It all adds up, right? It all adds up. It's time, and that's just a bit of a... That's what we get here at the Blitz. Everybody's around, and so the crowd's piling in, but it is going to be tough. I think it's going to be really tough for them, and if there's any team that can overcome that kind of challenge, it's Scott Roth. And talking to him, he's doing some cool things. I don't want to give away too much of the inside outs, but I'll say one thing. They've got a book club, the Tasmania JackJumpers.
They've got a what?
A book club. They've got these little things that Scott Roth does to make them closer as a group, but to understand certain aspects of the culture, all of that kind of stuff. And hey, it's working.
So that'll see us out for the first game here at the Gold Coast Sports and Leisure Centre. Stick around, though. Coming up very, very shortly, it'll be Cairns and Sydney in our second game of the night. Thanks for being with us at the NBL Blitz. And, of course, you can catch every game live on KO and around the world on YouTube. We'll see you soon.